A very warm welcome to you. Many thanks for being with us on this week's edition of the program. We remain your source for all the latest happenings in the world of business. My name is Lucy Lugbe. You are welcome. On the lineup today, we'll bring you highlights from two important events in the insurance and pension industry late last year. First, we'll bring you highlights from the Insurance Directors Conference that was organized under the theme, Transforming the Insurance Industry Through ESG Principles, Directors' Roles at the Radisson Blu Hotel, Ikeja. The hybrid conference, as expected, drew directors from insurance, reinsurance and brokerage firms in their numbers to brainstorm the subject of ESG, which is at the core of today's business. Let's check out excerpts. On this edition, also, we will bring you highlights from the annual Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria Penop Media Retreat for Insurance and Pension Correspondents in Lagos. The theme of the retreat was Pension, an opportunity to own your own home, an X-ray of the new RSA plan on home ownership. The retreat, which was also hybrid, provided a platform for learning for journalists for better reporting of the innovative policies in the pension sector. Let's check out excerpts.
We all have a role to play. Like Kengiwa said, if we behave ourselves well and do not see this as an opportunity to scheme and get money out of my pension account, it will help in that cause. The more we contribute, I'm not too sure anybody envisaged that 18 years ago, that from 10 million contributors, we would have 14 trillion naira today. I'm not too sure. Remember, it was deficits, people retiring, and there was no money to pay them. And now people retiring, and they were getting their pensions.
A lot of times people will come, PENCOM should do this, PENCOM should do this, PENCOM should intervene in capital market. There is a system. It's unfortunate that as Nigerians sometimes we are quick, we want quick results, but things will evolve.
We have parents that, have retired in some cases that most people are supporting one way or the other. And, in that generation, because there was really no pension or the pension didn't work as it should, the children then become the support network or the pension in quotes. So now there's a mechanism that we can all rely on. 10 million is way too small. Or sorry, it's not even 10. It's still under, it's 9.4 or 5, if we are being precise, that are involved in this scheme. So we've just scratched the surface. We're over 200 million. There are 70 people that work, in small, medium-scale enterprises. So there's a lot of room for improvement.
The pension business is capital intensive, and with the growth of assets under management, as well as the number of registered contributors, as well as the future, immediate future, the industry, the commission sees the immediate future in the pension industry, decided to increase the share capital of pension fund administrators from 1 billion to 5 billion. And what that means is that the PFAs now have increased capacity to be able to service the industry.
Okay, what more can I tell you than to say, sit tight and enjoy the lineup. Details in just a moment. Please stay with us.
The National Insurance Commission, through the College of Insurance and Financial Management, late last year put together the third edition of its annual conference for insurance, reinsurance, and brokerage companies directors at the Radisson Blu Hotel, Ikeja. The hybrid conference was organized under the theme Transforming the Insurance Industry through ESG Principle. Directors rose. The main objective of the annual event, according to NICOM, is to build capacity of directors of insurance, reinsurance, and brokerage companies for better understanding of the business. The 2022 edition was particularly of value as the chairman and board members of NICOM were also in attendance. Welcoming participants to the conference, the president of CIIN, Mr. Edwin Igbiti, stated that the insurance industry as societal risk managers must lead by example in the journey to green economy.
It has become imperative that the directors of insurance firms take strategic steps towards providing sustainable and eco-friendly insurance products so that we can protect future generations from avoidable catastrophe. This is not forgetting the tremendous effort to ensure effective corporate governance in our companies. The insurance industry, as the society risk managers, occupy a unique position to help individuals, businesses, and communities translate into a greener economy. The industry should facilitate the transition to a more sustainable and financially secure economy. To achieve this, it needs to lead by example and infuse sustainable principles in their internal operations while promoting green insurance policies.
In his keynote address, the Commissioner for Insurance, NICOM, Mr. O.S. Thamas, said that the Commission on Sustainability is already working with relevant institutions on flood and disaster management.
In the same vein, the National Insurance Commission also expects that we take interest in pursuing the following: development of green products, improving operations geared towards energy efficiency. What are your investment strategies? Are we interested in green bonds? Are there limitations by the regulatory provisions? Leveraging technologies in our operations. Ensuring people with disability to avoid discrimination. Does that address our social and governance structures? Corporate social responsibility. Are we taking it as a responsibility or as something we do out of sheer sympathy? Improving and complying with professional standards. On our part, as the National Insurance Commission, we've already evolved certain initiatives in the area of sustainability. And I quickly mention a few of them. In the area of climate change, we are working with relevant institutions on fraud and disaster management.
In his goodwill message, the chairman of the board of NICOM, Dr. Abubakar Sani, noted that it is imperative for directors of insurance institutions to give priority attention to the adoption of ESG principles if they want to stand out in the financial ecosystem.
As policymakers of your various companies, it is imperative that you begin to accord priority attention to the adoption of ESG principles. Hopefully, this will make our insurance market with strong positive image that can proudly stand out as a force in the Nigerian financial and economic ecosystem. On our part, in the Commission, we will continue to push for reforms that will enable seamless implementation of ESG principles in the insurance sector.
There has been a growing interest in the insurance industry and the wider financial sector in understanding the correlation between ESG factors and strong performance of companies across industries. There is no doubt that with the buy-in of directors of insurance institutions on ESG issues will raise awareness on the potential benefits of ESG integration in the insurance business model. The first paper session of the conference focused on ESG integration in the African insurance industry, lessons to be learned. Presenter was Philip Lokokuit, CEO, I See Lion Insurance Holding, Kenya. According to him, insurers must understand their triple role in society as they embrace ESG principles.
We play a triple role, and you're all familiar with that. And all I'm just going to do is to just highlight as a reminder. We are risk managers. We help society to understand, prevent, and reduce risk. We are risk carriers. We protect the society and its investment by paying claims when they do. Thirdly, we are investors. We channel insurance premiums into financial instruments and therefore supporting our capital markets. And understanding our triple role is integral to understanding how sustainable our businesses would be. So risk management is really part of the value chain. And I think this just sets up a framework for our discussions on sustainable insurance and ESG. Moving on to the sustainability challenges. These sustainability challenges are well known. We have talked about climate change, and we're talking about biodiversity loss. We're talking about ecosystem degradation, pollution, human rights, poverty, social inequality. And I think this forms a framework in which we ask ourselves, how do we make ourselves sustainable?
All the sessions focused in the conference were on sustainable insurance principles, the role of directors. Presenter was Chizoma Okoli, DMD Access Bank PLC, Green Insurance in the Nigerian insurance industry, a reality or fantasy by Miguel Solani. The high point of the conference was the open session where participants engaged with the regulators.
The ESG, from the little I have researched, has components, and most of these components has not been addressed for some of us to understand. Maybe perhaps the policy that is going to come up by NICOMS will address them, but I will not take most of our time in listing them out here. From Jai's Takaful Insurance, for instance, I believe that the practice of surplus distribution that Jai's Takaful implements is more or less speaking to the social aspect of ESG, where one of its components is the issue of local communities, just like Access Bank is trying to implement or has been implementing an effort geared towards making life better for the citizenry, for the common man on the street.
We need money to operate this ESG we are all talking about. How do we get this money? We are cutting rates. I remember some years ago, I was in a program in Lagos Business School. One professor was telling us that Egypt and South Africa contribute more to their GDP than Nigeria. I said, excuse me, sir. That is, I allow him to talk, to speak. After speaking, I said, excuse me, sir. What rate did Egypt and South Africa charge on motor? That very year, the industry charged only 1% for NNPC motors. He then agreed with me that yes, we are undoing ourselves. You discover that if you have to charge the adequate rate in Nigeria, you discover that Nigeria will contribute more to the GDP of Nigeria than Egypt and South Africa.
There is no doubt that management of insurance companies, more than ever before, are looking up to their board for policy guidance on the adoption of ESG principles in their operations. There is a growing urgency on the insurance industry globally to have a formal and clearly defined ESG strategy. This is the only way the insurance can push forward in matching ESG initiatives with customer needs.
Premiumbeat.com.
All right, welcome back. Moving on, we now bring you highlights of the 2022 Penop Media Retreat for insurance and pension journalists at the Lilygate Hotel, Lekki. There is no doubt that the annual Penop Media Retreat has helped journalists in better understanding and reporting of the contributory pension scheme, which is one of the best things that has happened to this country in recent years by way of policy implementation. Happy viewing.
Premiumbeat.com.
The Pension Fund Operators Association, Penop, is the umbrella body of all licensed pension fund administrators in Nigeria that promotes self-regulation and international best practice amongst its members. In line with its objectives of promoting public awareness, Penop, late last year, put together its annual Pally for insurance and pension journalists at the Lilygate Hotel, Lekki. The media Pally was held under the theme Pension, an opportunity to own your own home, an X-ray of the new RSA plan on home ownership. In attendance were top members of Penop, representatives of Pencom, and journalists from different media outfits. Welcoming participants to the Pally, Mr. Larry Idris, Head Media, Branding and Communication Committee, Penop, implored journalists to do more to protect the contributory pension scheme from those with narrow and personal interest.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that we all need to do more to educate the public and on the workings and the gains of the contributory pension scheme. We need to do more to protect the gains of the scheme from personal and narrow interests. And we need to do more to ensure that the benefit of the pension reform positively affects every home in Nigeria. At this juncture, I would like to reiterate that you, the media, are a very critical stakeholder in achieving these goals for me. Having said this, we would like to say that this day is also a day to hear from you. It isn't just a speech, one-way traffic from us to yourselves. We'd like to engage you and hear from you. We want to hear from you in terms of how we can serve you better and how we can collaborate more for the overall benefit of the retirees, the pensioners, and the industry as a whole.
Also lending his voice to welcome journalists, the president of Penop, Mr. Olumide Oyetan, also called on journalists to do more in public education about the pension industry. In his keynote address, the representative of Pencom, Mr. Ibrahim Kangiwa, head Investment Supervision, Pencom, said that one of the current objectives of Pencom is to ensure that people can own their own homes before retirement. As such, all stakeholders must work together for the success of a home ownership policy for contributors.
The advantage also is that houses also provide a good source of value in terms of ownership. So, for example, the value of the house when you buy it today and the value at the time of retirement, there is great value in real estate. So it's like a win-win. In our own view, it's a win-win situation for the industry, for the mortgage industry, for the pension industry, and for the RSA model. So for successful implementation, stakeholders must work together to ensure effective implementation of the guidelines. We require you to solicit, we also solicit the cooperation of all stakeholders, especially RSA holders. We need enlightenment. People need to know and also apply these ones for what they are meant.
Speaking on the roadmap for implementation of the policy, the Chief Executive Officer of Penop, Mr. Oguche Aguda, said that the policy will be improved upon as it goes along.
Is there anyone here that has an iPhone 1? You have an iPhone 1, put up your hand. You have an iPhone 2, put up your hand. Have an iPhone 4, put up your hand. Don't have an iPhone 4. iPhone 6? Nobody. Someone have an iPhone 6. Okay. What I wanted to say is that this policy is version 1. I guarantee you it will change because people are skeptical. People say, oh, it doesn't work. Why? This is version 1. We are taking in information and we need to revise. It's not perfect, but it's a start. So let's not be critical and say, oh, it's not going to work. Mental health access to this version 1. It will improve. But it's positive, and I want to leave here with a positive sense and flood the media with a positive sense for people to begin to engage with this policy. The industry is positive about it, and the one the RSA is positive about.
The high point of the annual media parley is the open session where journalists engaged with stakeholders in the pension industry.
One issue is the issue of engagement. Everybody on the high table, I don't know anybody there. You got your new executive in the month of April or so, but I'm sure many of our colleagues are meeting you people for the very first time. Have you done a press conference since you came in as the new executive? So, at the side of the media, we are asking us to help you tell your story. Why are you helping us to tell the story? The answer is no, you are not helping us. Once in a while engagement is not what we need. We need constant engagement. Every 3 months, it's not a bad idea. We have you in March, we have you in June, and we move forward, we have you in September. It will not be a bad idea. And now we send our normal event. It's okay. That to me is enough. So I'm asking, maybe we look 2022 to find a way forward so that we can improve the relationship.
I look at the requirement. And it's quite huge to be finding. And I used my own computation. For you to have access that money, it means you must have about 8 million in your RSA account. For somebody to have accrued 8 million, I believe that person can also get money to pay his own profit. 1. 2. The requirements to me look so compulsory. When you look at all the scenarios, Nigerians are somebody, they are not that patient. Just look at all these requirements. I'll do that. By the time I put 1 and 2 together, I can pick my own profit. So I believe we need to also look into that requirement, see how we can make it flexible and easier for people to actually key into it.
Love without money is not sustainable over a long period of time. In the same vein, Penop asking us, we need your support, without advert support from PLS, is equally not sustainable. I don't know why it is so difficult to generate adverts from PLS. Please, want the expo to look at this, because without the advert support, the media will not be able to survive. Let alone to support you to spread the message of pension.
Responding to some of the questions raised by journalists, Mr. Kangiwa had this to say.
We did not reinvent the wheel. We did not change any process. If you look at PENCOM and the pension industry, one philosophy we have is we exist and we operate within a system, within a financial system. A lot of times people will come, PENCOM should do this, PENCOM should intervene in capital market. There is a system. It's unfortunate that as Nigerians, sometimes we want quick results, but things will evolve. Like Mr. Merami said, in terms of this pricing, it will evolve over time. What we foresee, for example, this cost, you have very young, sharp individuals today in the housing market. And what they will begin to do is to aggregate. They will look at individuals and low-income housing and aggregate 100, 200 and build for that purpose.
There is no doubt that the annual Penop Media Parley is aiding insurance and pension journalists in their understanding of the CPS.
That's our time. Join us next week for another episode. Feel free to connect with us on all our social media platforms. We are live every Wednesday on Waiting Insurance They Do Serve on Naija FM, courtesy of NICOM. Tune in and have fun with us. See you next week. Bye-bye.